This is the most successful captain of the Indian team, a player who changed the intent of his team in cricket history. This player who brought a revolution to cricket in the early 2000s still resides in all our hearts, and his name is Sourav Ganguly. But all of us cricket fans know him by the name Dada. A lover of the offside and always passionate about winning, Sourav has seen many ups and downs in his career, whether it was his off-field aggressive attitude or on-field posturing dominating the team. Sourav displayed all this in his career.
He was able to take the team along.
He was also able to make those decisions. Dada was never afraid of color. He is one of the best Indian captains ever, and he is one of the most successful captains ever. And when it comes to taking revenge, no one could mess with Sourav Ganguly for the Indian cricket team and its fans. Sourav Ganguly made his Ranji debut in 1991 season. During that time, he performed exceptionally well while playing for Bengal and took his team to the quarterfinals, where he played a brilliant innings of 171 runs against Orissa. Soon after Sourav made his place in the Indian team, his ODI debut was against West Indies in 1992, but at that time, the match became both his first and last. Yes, he was dropped from the team immediately after that match. Young Ganguly had just entered the India team, and after just one match, he was dropped. The reason behind this was neither his form nor his fitness, but the allegation that he had refused to carry drinks for his teammates. Due to his perceived arrogant behavior, the BCCI made the decision to drop him. Sourav Ganguly had always been a bold type of cricketer, and his nature was similar, so rumors like these were inevitable, with Sourav later denied. What exactly happened after his debut match that led to his dropping? Only Sourav Ganguly and the BCCI would know. But despite all this, Sourav Ganguly did not give up and continued his good form in domestic cricket. He scored 561 runs in the 1993 and 94 Ranji Trophy season and 641 runs in 94 and 95 season, with a remarkable average. Seeing his exceptional performance, the BCCI decided to give him another chance. He was selected for the 1996 England tour, which became a turning point in his international career. Being selected for the England tour based on his domestic performance was a huge opportunity for him, which he made sure not to waste. Although he had played just one ODI before, Sourav was not included in the team for the first test match. However, he got his chance in the second test when Navjot Singh Sidhu and Mohammad Azharuddin had issues and left the series midway. Sourav's test debut was with Rahul Dravid at Lord's Cricket Ground, which is literally considered the home of cricket. There he played such an amazing innings that not only the English team but even Indian fans was stunned. He scored an incredible 131 runs in that match, marking a remarkable debut for a player in his first test match at Lord's. Already it was commendable effort, making a test debut at the ground like Lord's and scoring a century in that match. That was a total dream come true. At that time, such a debut was something people could only imagine in their dreams, and Sourav showcased his caliber at the international stage. Sourav also scored a century in the third test match of the series, 100 runs in consecutive test innings. By late 1990s, Sourav Ganguly's career graph was rising. After the successful 1996 England tour, he continued that form and later appeared as an opening batsman in ODI. In 1997 against Sri Lanka, he scored his maiden ODI century. Later that year, Sourav Ganguly made a record by winning 4 consecutive Player of the Match awards in the Sahara Cup against Pakistan. By the late 1990s, the Indian team had found a player who could support Sachin Tendulkar. At that time, there was no reliable batsman in the team to support Sachin. In the third final of the 1998 Independence Cup, due to Sourav's knock, India chased down a target of 315 runs, and Sourav was awarded Player of the Match for his amazing innings. And absolutely, Ganguly was also a part of 1999 World Cup. The World Cup, which was to be held in England, saw Sourav Ganguly and Rahul Dravid take charge of the team. Although Team India did not perform well in that World Cup, where Sachin Tendulkar was going through a tough phase, Sourav Ganguly stepped over the Indian cricket. In that World Cup, he played a record-breaking innings of 183 runs against Sri Lanka, which was at that time the second highest innings in any World Cup and the highest by an Indian, a record that still stands today. No Indian player has been able to break this record yet. In 1999 World Cup, Sourav Ganguly scored 379 runs in 8 matches at an average of 47.3, including 2 centuries and 2 half-centuries. As a part-time bowler, he also took 7 wickets, always whenever a new generation speaks for it. Dada started it, and his journey to becoming Dada began right here. After the World Cup, the next 4 to 5 years were to be the career-defining for Sourav Ganguly. In fact, it could be said that both Ganguly and his team evolved and began to dominate the opposition. During this time, Sourav Ganguly was about to earn his new name Dada. In 2000, just a year after the World Cup, the match-fixing scandal broke out, and some players, including a former Indian captain Mohammad Azharuddin, were banned. At that time, the Indian team was in the low phase and was looking for a new captain. While players were being sidelined, Sourav Ganguly was handed the captaincy of the team. Sourav Ganguly became the captain for the first time, and the BCCI expected him to turn the Indian team into a successful one. Ganguly's motto was simple: play with fearless aggression and believe in your abilities. Just look at that year's ICC Knockout Trophy, also known as the Champions Trophy, where India performed exceptionally well and even reached the finals. Although New Zealand won the tournament, this was just the beginning. It marked the start of that fearless cricketing style. In 2001, India faced Australia in the Test series, which we call the Border Gavaskar Trophy. At that time, India's opponent team Australia was in a completely different form. They were the recent World Cup winning champions, coming off 15 consecutive Test wins, and led by the captain like Steve Waugh, who had the best Test match winning record and had dominated the 1990s Test era. During the late 90s, Australia had adapted the formula of sledging equals pressure equals victory, meaning provoking the batsman and taking control of the match. But this trick wasn't going to work against Dada. In all these 3 Test matches that series, Dada made Steve Waugh wait during the toss, and when he came to bat, he responded to sledging with more sledging. After losing the first Test match of the series, India won the next 2 matches and clinched the series. Plus, Harbhajan's hat-trick in the Kolkata Test and Lakshman's infamous legendary partnership could make a separate video. All these moments were witnessed by cricket fans during these series. Sourav Ganguly shattered the arrogance of the Australians. In 2002, Sourav Ganguly's Indian team won their first ever ACC trophy. The final against Sri Lanka in the 2002 Champions Trophy could not place due to rain, and as a result, Sri Lanka and India were declared joint winners. In late 2001, the England team toured India to play 3 Test matches and 6 ODI matches. But something happened during the ODI series that India, despite being 3 out of 1 up in the series, lost the next 2 ODI matches. They didn't lose by convincing margins, but India lost the 5th ODI by 2 runs and the 6th ODI by 5 runs. With such narrow margins, England managed to draw the series. After England drew the series, England's player Andrew, in a moment of aggression, started celebrating by taking off his jersey and shouting, "It's all over for India," which seemed quite normal to many fans. But this incident in some way hurt Dada's heart. A year later, under Dada's captaincy, India won the NatWest Trophy. During the celebration, Dada gave Andrew a taste of his own medicine, celebrating in a similar fashion. It was a credible moment when Sourav Ganguly waved his shirt from the balcony of the Lords, which was an epic moment and the first revenge from Dada. After that series, India managed to draw the Test series in England with the help of Sachin Tendulkar and Rahul Dravid. India was no longer easily losing overseas and was putting up a tough fight. In 2003 World Cup, India performed well. After losing the early matches, it seemed like the team wouldn't even make it to the semi-finals. But the Indian team reached the finals. Although the World Cup was won by Australia, under Dada's captaincy, India was not only winning overseas Test matches but also making it to the top in the ICC tournaments. For Dada, the 2003 and 2004 Border Gavaskar Trophy was extraordinary, both as a player and as a captain. The series ended in 1-1 draw, and India managed to draw a Test series in Australia after 18 years. Dada set high standards and transformed the team culture. He was awarded the Padma Shri. At that time, he can say that Dada was at the peak of his career. But shortly after that, in 2004 and 5, this series marked the downfall of Ganguly's career, which had been at its peak. The India vs Australia Test series was scheduled to take place in India that year, and India lost that series. Australia defeated India at home for the first time. After this series, Ganguly was labeled as a defeated captain, and questions started being raised about his captaincy. Due to this decent form in 2004 and the poor form in 2005, he was dropped from the team in October 2005. Yes, you heard it right. The player who had taken charge of the Indian team after the 2000 match fixing scandal was dropped from the team. After this period, the captaincy of the Indian team was handed over to Rahul Dravid, and it was even said that Ganguly was finished. There were rumors that Ganguly was removed from the captaincy because of Greg Chappell joining as the team's head coach. What happened, why it happened, and how it happened were all thoughts that brought both sadness and anger. But now it's all in the past. As soon as Greg Chappell became the head coach of the Indian team, his disputes with Sourav Ganguly became a frequent topic in news headlines. Greg Chappell sent an email to the BCCI stating that Ganguly was mentally and physically unfit to lead the team, and his method of divide and rule was damaging the team. A few days later, this email somehow got made public, and Chappell faced a lot of backlash from Ganguly's fans. The issue continued within the team, and eventually, due to his poor form, Sourav Ganguly was dropped from captaincy. After India's poor performance in the 2006 Champions Trophy whitewash in the South Africa ODI series, Ganguly finally made his comeback to the Indian Test team. He didn't perform exceptionally well in the South Africa Test series, but in the ODI series, he silenced everyone with his performance. First, he played a match-winning knock of 73 not out, and during the West Indies tour, he played another match-winning knockout of 98 runs. Though Sourav Ganguly was removed from the captaincy, no one could take away his batting aggression. He was also included in the 2007 ODI World Cup team. In the World Cup, coach Greg Chappell made several questionable and controversial decisions, which ultimately led to his removal from the Indian team. But Sourav Ganguly, as a batsman, had made a comeback. However, he couldn't forget the past years, and this led to his retirement from the international cricket in 2008. A loud applause for the former Indian captain, and he walked out to the centre for the last time. Dada made a significant impact on the Indian cricket team, and it would not be wrong to say that the mindset and intent of the team changed because of him. Sourav Ganguly was the kind of player who never played for a draw. He believed that if you played well, winning was also necessary. One may win 1,000 matches, but what he achieved from Indian cricket cannot be matched by anyone. This is my belief, and I also claim it. Such impactful players are rare in the India, and perhaps we will never see a player like Ganguly again. Thank you, Dada, for your efforts to the game of cricket.